This is Tommy Belk, and I'm talking to you in my role as staff person with Christ for All Peoples for around 8 minutes, just a bit more than the perfect number 7, I think, about what we do, and in particular, my role. We equip ministry partners to better fulfill Christ's Great Commission by taking what works extremely well out on the mission field and what follows Jesus' discipleship commands, and then we help people use that right here, especially with all the international peoples now pouring into our zip codes. 1 out of 3 people in the Charlotte area now speak another language in their homes, and that's amazing. Our desire for you is to become, like it was said of the sons of Issachar around King David in the Old Testament, that they understood their times and they knew what to do. We work hard to equip people and hopefully you to better understand key issues of our times from God's perspective, know what is already being done about them, and how to use their already well-proven tools and processes. Or you support us as we help others apply these. As I touch on these right now, and if they also touch your heart, then I encourage you to hear more fully by checking out my YouTube Talking PowerPoint presentation, or just the PowerPoint slides that you can more quickly click through. Or let's talk about it together in person. For the last decade, Phil Cohn, our founder and president, and our staff, working with our 2,500 partners, mainly in the United States, have been using the Jesus Film as our first major ministry solution tool. Most don't know that 4 billion people have watched it over its 33-year history. Hundreds of millions have come to Christ, particularly with people of other languages, since this is in over 1,000 languages. I would say that is something that works extremely well in the mission fields. Another thing we do is equip people with skills taken from very rapidly growing Christian movements overseas on how to do effective evangelism, reproducing discipleship, multiplying small groups, generations deep, and church planning. A favorite of mine is T for T, training for trainers. T for T helps people get clear who and where people far from God are. Pray ahead of time to join where God is working. Otherwise, it's just dead human techniques. Go to and connect with them with love and mercy deeds. Share our story and Jesus' story. Doing all of this is the first part of reproducing discipleship that keeps on progressing. But it's all very simple. The new believers can turn right around and train others to imitate and reproduce rapidly. And for existing discipleship church planners, both here and abroad, we are working on electronic support with phones and devices loaded with language tools, Bible stories, scriptures, and so forth in specific people group languages, especially. From here in the U.S., we want to help discipled leaders reach back to their unreached peoples over there in their home countries, in the villages and whatever, as well as to the people here in apartments. Okay, here are some of the key issues of our times in the form of some questions that these tools and processes provide very strong solutions for, so the people know what they can do. First of all, what to do with all these internationals pouring into our zip codes? What does it take to reach them and fulfill Christ's Great Commission with them? Obviously, our solutions come from internationals actually doing that out on the mission field in the first place. And what about the existing American churches? Our declining statistical growth. And how do we get folks to do what we call getting to the gospel so Christ's kingdom grows and grows rapidly? And our tools and skills help people as they are in natural relationships with people around them. Or as they're serving people doing mercy and justice ministries, like taking food, tutoring, English second language, or whatever. What does it take to actually get to the place in a conversation that they're sharing their story and Jesus' story? How do they get confident and competent that they can do this and what we have does this? And concerning missions, there's the issue of how do we find and reach unreached people with the gospel, discipleship, and so forth, many of which have just located here, like I said, pouring into our zip codes. They have their own people group languages and cultures they bring with them. What we have naturally works with all that. This is really doing Christ's Great Commission with them. How do we help the church better understand and do the Great Commission? The Great Commission is the main thing that Jesus clearly said he wants his church to keep as the main thing that keeps getting done on the earth? How do we help the church get laser focused on what Jesus said was his prime directive, his master mandate for his church? So as we do what we do, we also help improve existing conditions in the American churches. What does discipleship really mean? Large-scale polls show that churched people here are pretty confused about this. They said it's like discipleship is like lost in a junk drawer of many things. And then, can we do church in our times more like how they did it back in the New Testament times? Another hot issue. Back then they had effective evangelism, reproducing discipleship that very ordinary illiterate people did, that multiplied rapidly with home groups and planted churches many generations deep. And it was solid, sustained, it saturated huge areas. And it happened with people of many cultures and languages. Paul and his teams saturated the 7 major provinces of the Roman Empire in only 8 to 10 years. Can that happen, anything like that today, and also reach people of many internationalities? So the answer to all these questions is yes. There are tools, methods, and processes going on today out on the mission field on the scale of millions, confirmed by sound researchers, some of which we can learn to use right here. These also closely follow the pattern commands of Jesus and his apostles, what they actually taught and demonstrated. Once again, our vision is to equip people and our ministry partners to be better. Better means to better fulfill Christ's Great Commission. And here are the 2 major things that I'm working through all this that I'm doing. We are helping people, number 1, be equipped just to get started with some gospel sharing by helping first get clear the vision. Why do this wholeheartedly? Who and where to go? Go to your own natural list of people around you. Or as they are already doing mercy and justice ministries, taking food, clothes, or whatever, we help them get confident and competent for what to say, what to do, to get to the gospel, to fish for men as they're already connecting with people. And secondly, we're helping churches and nonprofits pick mission target areas, train them, get them to take action to go there, sow the gospel seed, help the believers grow, and produce exponentially abundant reproducing harvests, like Jesus said, 30, 60, 100-fold. That's what Jesus said he wanted. And we equip how to go and connect with the people in a target area, like by first praying ahead of time, then sharing, for example, burritos. See how the folks respond. Ask a broad spiritual question. Pray quickly. Keep seeing how they respond. Then get to the gospel, sharing their story and Jesus' story. And then from there, do effective short-term discipleship in groups. It can grow even more comprehensive from there, loving louder and louder with more Christian community development, mercy and justice, ministry deeds, and so forth. So these are the kind of things I'm working on, along with a few other things. And we're already working on several target areas in the Charlotte area right now. If you want to know more about this or want to look into being supportive, please get in touch and check out our more in-depth presentations that I mentioned. Thanks for listening.